If you're someone like me that always enjoyed having a pot of lettuce or a tomato growing in your windowsill, or maybe a fruit tree in your yard, or something just small and simple, but you've never really known if it was possible to actually expand beyond having something super simple and basic, or you just don't think you have the time or the energy, then let me be the one to tell you that I personally understand completely where you're coming from. For the longest time, I thought that I was going to be stuck just having a garden because there was just too much resistance and red tape and just too many doubts in my mind to expand into having a big functional crop garden, to owning chickens. I totally get all of the stress and frustration with wanting more, but feeling like you can't get more. But before I get too far into it, first and foremost, who even am I and why can you trust me? Well, my name is Jeffroburnes, and I have been in the homesteading game for just over a year now. Personally, I have only had chickens for about a year and a half, but ever since I bought this house in 2021, I have raised fruits and vegetables every single year. As a matter of fact, when I initially bought my fruit trees, I was thinking that we would get apples that very same year. So I bought 2 apple trees and 2 cherry trees. But during that time, I only ever got 1 apple after a year and a half. But what I want to get into with this video, the specifics that I want to get into in this video is specifically if you already have a garden, then why you should add chickens into your rotation and how those chickens can be beneficial, whether you can even get chickens, all the good stuff. So let's get right into it. Are chickens even possible? Chickens are indeed possible. As a matter of fact, in 99% of circumstances, they are easy. The barrier to entry is very low. If you're like me and you live in a city setting, most cities these days allow you to have a flock of 4 to 6 hens on average, and you don't even need a massive mega farm of chickens in order to have a supply of eggs. So of course we all know that when we have a garden without... Oh God! Oh... You scared the bejesus out of me, John. So, of course, we all know that when we have a garden without chickens, it's a natural reduce, reuse, recycle situation. Because when we have a garden with just plants, we plant the seeds inside of the garden, we harvest the seeds from the garden, and then we get nitrogen, potassium compost from the kitchen waste that the plants produce, which is great. That's 2 out of 3 essential micronutrients that all plants need in order to have a healthy, growing cycle. So I'm going to go a little bit more into why adding chickens into your garden is so important. Well, first and foremost, as I was already explaining, they do give carbon and phosphorus compost. They give phosphorus through their poop, which naturally contains a lot of phosphorus, contains a lot of nitrogen, contains a whole lot of all kinds of good stuff that plants themselves do not normally make, but animals are really good at making. And then additionally, the carbon that comes from the chicken bedding. The bedding that is either pine shavings or wood chips or, anything that you use, straw, any kind of stuff like that that's high in carbon is going to be really good for your compost as well, because it helps feed the microbes that help break down the other stuff, and it creates a very, very healthy mix of stuff that you can layer over your garden beds when the year comes. So without chickens, you'd normally only be getting half of your compost strength. Does that kind of make sense? So if you didn't have chickens and you only had your vegetable compost, you would have to go and obtain carbon and phosphorus from another source that isn't your own. Now, granted, you can do that through yard waste, you could do that through lawn clippings, you could do that through oak leaves and sticks and, fall stuff, but that's seasonal dependent. It depends on other people donating it to you, depends on you having trees. There's all kinds of barriers to getting good compost when you don't have any chickens. So having the ability to be able to get the other 2 essential micronutrients into your compost is so good, especially considering the fact that it's happening all the time. It's not seasonal dependent. Chickens poop all the time. you need to replace the bedding all the time. There's always going to be a fresh availability of this super healthy compost to layer into your kitchen scraps alongside all of your other stuff. Additionally, chickens are very, very good at winter cleanup. So when you're done with your gardens and winter is coming through and it's fall and all your crops are dying and everything, what you normally do is you either yank them out of the ground, or you do what you do. You mill them back into the soil, you kind of disturb everything yourself, you have to manually do a bunch of labor. Chickens do all of that for free. If you just open the gates to allow your chickens to dig around in your gardens after you're done harvesting them and doing everything that you need to do with them, then your chickens will do all of the winter cleanup, all of the mixing, all of the tilling for free. And additionally, on top of that, chickens will go through your garden and they will get rid of any nasty parasites, any grubs, any beetles, anything that could have been eating on your crops. They're naturally misplacing a bunch of stuff, and they're also moving soil, they're moving microbes, they're just moving soil around. And they love doing that. That's just something that they do naturally. So you don't ever have to lift a finger doing it yourself. You'd be very surprised how well you can train and control your chickens to do tilling in specific spots that you want them to till at. And I'll go more into detail on it in a future video, but just know that when you integrate chickens into your garden, it makes it way easier on you, because then you don't have to invest dozens of manual labor hours into doing stuff that the chickens are just going to do naturally anyways. And that's why I firmly believe that even just from a utilitarian perspective, you definitely, absolutely should be putting chickens into your garden and raising chickens, even if it was just exclusively for your gardens. If you were vegan and you didn't have any interest in eggs or meat, or you wanted to just keep them as pets or anything like that, you could absolutely do that. You can still use chickens as a utility resource without having them, do what, without using their other... the point is that you could have the chickens do their thing without using them for their own resources if you had that sort of mindset. But I want to help sweeten the deal for you. So let me go into a little bit more detail about other things that chickens can provide for you, other than just the pure utility of assisting you with your garden. First and foremost, channel support. If you have gotten this far in the video and you are genuinely interested in stuff like this, subscribe to my channel, give the video a like, leave a comment, let me know what your thoughts are, let me know of any issues that you're having, and I will do my best to help you out in the comment section below, as well as anything else that you want to do, maybe sharing this video if you find it interesting, yada yada, all the YouTube jargon. But what else do chickens even do for you and your family other than just being a utility tool for your garden? Well, as most people know, they give you a lot of eggs. And as I was explaining before, eggs are a huge benefit to owning chickens. And as I was saying earlier as well, you don't need a massive flock to have a big production of eggs. All the eggs that you see on screen right here, these are because I just got sick of eating my chickens' eggs. Like, you get 5 to 6 eggs hand delivered to you every single day, and you just like, oh my god, I don't feel like eating eggs today. And then maybe the next day you don't feel like eating eggs again, So after 3 days of not eating eggs, you end up with 18 eggs. And then, now you have a batch of them that you kind of have to go through, or you can use them as trade for your neighbors to borrow the lawnmower or borrow a shovel or whatever you need to do, right? You can give them away, you can sell them to coworkers, you can use them in batch baking recipes, whatever. The point is that eggs have massive utility. Even if you're not planning on eating them yourself, you can sell them to help get back some of the money that you spend on your garden. There's just too many good benefits to raising your own eggs and having your own eggs and doing all the stuff that eggs allow you to do. Now, real quick, for this next benefit of chickens, I just want to put a little disclaimer out there. I understand that not everybody intends to buy chickens with meat in mind, but that is another benefit of having chickens, is that they do provide you meat. I mean, at the end of the day, we do enjoy some good fried chicken, right? But, chickens, even though they're cuddly and fun, sometimes things happen. And this particular chicken in this picture was attacked by one of my neighbor's dogs when I was allowing them to free forage in my front yard. So the real quick short story of that is that I thought that if I was physically present with my chickens that they would be safe from predators. Well, hungry predator doesn't care. Hungry predator is still going to attack your chicken even if you're right next to it. And chicken, at the end of the day, is yummy. I still enjoy eating chicken, particularly chicken breast. I'm a breast man. I love breast. But my point being is that in an unfortunate circumstance where you do end up having to process your chicken, you can still allow them to serve you and your family one last time through a good, healthy meal. Which, granted, it was a very good soup. The broth that chicken provided us was amazing. It was a really good broth and a really good soup, and I'm grateful for all of the eggs and the fun that particular chicken gave me. But, I was reckless and I was unsightly about what I was doing, and unfortunately, I just had to do what I had to do after the attack happened. So that is something that chickens provide. I'm going to get that off the screen now, just in case anybody was sensitive to that. But that is a reality of chickens, is that they are yummy, and other things do find them yummy too. But to get out of that, they are also very fun. You will personally find yourself taking fun pictures of your chickens. Maybe you think that a particular chicken is looking very pretty. Maybe you'll find your chickens in a rather interesting scenario. This one was a teenage mole that had got kicked out of its mother's den. And after I took this picture, I made sure to move it to a different spot and it buried away, and I'm pretty sure it's living a good life now. But yeah, so that's the story behind that picture. This picture, of course, is my son driving his little car, and then he's trying to hit my chickens, but obviously the car is too slow to hit any of the chickens. They are very aware of what's happening, and it's just a fun moments like that where you can watch your children like interact, whether positively or sometimes negatively, with your chickens. If they do interact negatively, obviously you say, hey, stop throwing the feed at the chickens, don't throw the dirt at the chickens, because kids, they just love throwing stuff and seeing reactions, right? So my point is that it is a lot of fun to take pictures of what your chickens are doing. It is a joy to own chickens. It is so much fun. You will find yourself taking a bunch of pictures of them, and that pretty much sums up all of my thoughts. Wealth through health. And if you find this particular message impactful, where you want to remain as healthy as possible and you want as much assistance getting there as possible, then I have a school community group that you can join where I'm offering the lowest price possible for the lifetime that I'm going to be here. I have detailed courses and guides and classes on all things homesteading, whether you want to be growing fruits or vegetables, fruit trees, chickens. I'm going to be expanding into more ventures in the future. But if you want my personal one-on-one assistance and want to remain in contact with me as much as possible through any questions, concerns, issues that you're having, then consider joining my community. I will be there to help you, guide you through everything that you need. And as far as taking your family's health to the next level, I'm also going to be having some cooking courses, some health courses, all the good stuff right here in this one community. So if you enjoyed this video, I really would appreciate your support once again. I really would hope that this video helped convince you that raising chickens is a net benefit and a net positive to your garden and your lifestyle. And if that's so, I will see you in the next video where I'm going to be going over more details about all the things that you can do with eggs, whether or not you can build your own coop, introduction, all the good stuff. So take care, and I will see you in the next one.